started talking about Tonko before. Let me mention it quick, and then I will get into a few other things. Just to let you know, for those who are listening live right now, I've run now about an hour. The show tonight is going to run about an hour and a half to 2 hours total, because this week it's been pretty light. We weren't even possibly going to do a show tonight because it was so light with the holiday week. As far as the Masked Maniac goes, for those who are listening, Masked Maniac will return next week. He's not, I'm not, King RJ, I'm not calling Kevin now at 12:30 in the morning. He probably fell asleep or he went out, and especially if he fell asleep, I ain't waking him up at 12:30 in the morning. So he can give you 30 minutes of his entertainment. You will have to do with just me until next week. But anyway, Tyson Tonko. You know, there's two rumors going around. One rumor is that Vince McMahon was not happy with his dark match that he had with Paul Burchill. Now, my honest feeling, people, go to YouTube, the match is there. Somebody taped the match from the camera phone, and the match is there in its entirety. I actually watched it, and the match was not bad at all. Tonko got a nice pop. The match was okay. Some of these idiots that wrote that the match was horrible have to remember it takes two to tango. Paul Burchill could be just as responsible. Just like you might hear in the net that Layla might have been a little bit responsible with Mickey James getting backed up a little bit tonight. You know, she was very woozy after a match, and that was not staged. So I'm sure she's okay, but something went wrong with one of those moves, and she, got knocked silly. But as far as Tyson Tonko goes, you go to YouTube, watch the dark match. I personally thought the match was okay. And you gotta remember, people, it was a fucking dark match. What do you expect out of dark matches? Yeah, I mean, think about that. Dark matches are preliminary matches, not meant to be seen on television. I will never forget, I've talked about it in the past, before Kurt Angle became a WWE superstar. I did a couple of dark matches on Raw about 6 months before, and the fans were chanting boring. I saw one of the matches in person, and the matches were not that good. And look what Kurt Angle ended up being. So, death to people, yes, Paul Burchill can work, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the two people in the ring gel. Always remember the word gel. Lance Storm has a column up now. He's talking about a lot of Q&A. He was talking about how him and Bulls Mahoney never gelled when they worked in ECW. So you could have two of the most talented wrestlers in the ring. If they don't gel, you can't tell a story. Not everybody gels great together. It's not like a video game. You could put fucking Rey Mysterio versus Hornswoggle and somehow get an entertaining match out of it. I mean, some people just don't gel. But the match wasn't bad. So that's, my feelings on rumor number one. Now, rumor number two is that, and this one is interesting, is that Tyson Tonko was seen wearing a sling following his match. And some people were saying that he might have a torn bicep or a torn muscle in his arm. And some people are even going further by saying he might have had that injury before working WWE's dark match. Now, I gotta be totally honest with you people. If Tyson Tonko was returning back to the WWE, I would think that WWE would do a little bit of physical on a particular wrestler. I mean, when you look at the wellness program, don't you, this is what baffles me about some idiots online that write this shit and don't bother thinking about what they're writing. They'll just write, oh, he might have had the injury before he went to, somebody signed with WWE. Nobody bothers to go take one step further. WWE, actually shout out to Horseman. I didn't even know that you lived in Brazil. He's currently listening in Brazil, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning over there. Horseman, thank you very much for listening live. Much love here. He said, now my show's reached South America. That's cool. Brazil. Definitely a country I always wanted to visit, but shout out to you, brother. Get some sleep. Anyway, get back to Tyson Tonko. Don't you think with the wellness program, they would have done tests on him? They would have done drug tests, blood tests, maybe fitness tests, maybe physical, maybe have a doctor check him out. I would tend to think that they would have known beforehand. He might have had a sprain or a strain that might have been aggravated in his match with Paul Burchill. And some people are trying to agree with me with this. I doubt that he had a torn muscle in his arm and thought he could get away with it in WWE. He's not stupid, people. If he had the injury, you know, I don't think he would have ruined his chances in WWE and fucking up his return by not mentioning it. Now, and this is even funnier, people. People, this was great about some idiots online. They start coming up with analysis based on an idea they don't even know if it's factual. There was one website, I don't remember who it is, I love to make fun of him, but he was saying, well, that explains why Tyson Tonko was thick. Think about that. They're now, oh, that's why he was thick. He couldn't work out the arm. You know, I mean, people, Tyson Tonko may have an injury now. Maybe he had a minor injury beforehand, but the word that he had a torn muscle beforehand, I'd be shocked if that was the case. Shout out to Hitman, listening from Bill Mason. So, but Tonko, you know, like some people are saying, you know, could he already be gone from the WWE? You know what? Anything is possible nowadays. WWE's got some financial issues. They don't want to start losing money. They're not going to sign this guy and bring him back and waste their money. They figure, you know what? He hasn't been on mainstream television yet. We're not going to invest in putting him in a storyline, maybe doing vignettes or run-in, or even associating him with Christian or Edge, and then take him right off TV. It would not look well. So, you know, let's wait and see what happens as far as Tonko goes. You know, but as of right now, you know, everything is just speculation. And anybody else on the net, and here's, you got to look at it like this too. You don't see any of these morons with these pay my $10 membership things taking it one step further. Notice that? So, you know, nobody knows right now. And the fact that nobody knows means that something was definitely exaggerated, and some people said, oh, that sounds good. Let me run with it. The unnamed source. Anyway. Good news for you people that could not stand the return of American Gladiators and Hogan being on that show. NBC has officially canceled American Gladiators. So I don't even know if you could call that return. Was it a success? I mean, was it a joke? Was it a waste of time? Did they make any money on it at all? I mean, maybe you just treat it like an experiment for a TV series that doesn't work out. So now, I'm starting to lose my voice, people, so I don't know how long I'll be able to go here. But I want to talk about JBL for a moment because, you know, I'm reading several websites praising JBL for his involvement with Tribute to the Troops. And happy holidays to you, Unplugged. I am sick and tired of hearing people praise JBL for his love for the troops and his love for America. And this guy does the shit he does behind the scenes. Okay? I'm sick and tired of hearing it. And I'll tell you the reason why. There are a lot of patriotic assholes in this world. There are a ton of patriotic scumbags in this world. There are a lot of pricks that love our troops and respect the troops and appreciate them. Just because you respect the troops and love the troops and love America and, you know, be totally in or of what they do for this country and be totally adamant against the Sumotori incident, George Bush, does not make you any better of a person. JBL is nothing but a dick that loves America, loves our troops. And I am fed up. I'm sick and tired of hearing these fucking reports. You gotta respect JBL. You gotta appreciate JBL for what he, for his involvement with the troops and doing this with the troops. The guy's a dick. The guy's a scumbag. The guy is a bully. The guy's done some very fucked up shit behind the scenes. But because he respects the troops, all is for naught. He doesn't get punished. Let somebody out there commit a crime and be very loyal to our troops and see if that person still gets in jail. So, someone asked me my thoughts as far as JBL because of all tribute to troops thing. I gotta be totally honest with you people. I watched JBL on Fox News this weekend talking about the economy and all this other shit. And I gotta tell you, WWE wants to keep his push on TV, fine. But it baffles me why Fox News keeps bringing this guy on, but meanwhile we hear on the news of JBL, fucking with Joey Styles, doing these nasty ribs on people backstage, what he did to Meanie at the ECW pay-per-view, the infamous goose step in Germany. He keeps doing very disturbing, disrespectful, fucked up behavioral shit backstage. But yet Fox News welcomes him with open arms. Please, JBL, talk about the economy. Give us your knowledge. Please, your wife is fucking whatever the fuck her name was. Why the hell is this asshole on Fox News Channel with all the behavioral shit that he's doing behind the scenes from WWE? Does anybody in management in Fox News that says, why is this guy on TV? That's the thing that bothers me more than anything. The troop shit, that's just assholes and idiots online that, think, because he respects and loves the troops, that, we can forgive him for doing the disgusting shit he does behind the scenes. Like I said, there are a lot of dicks in this world, a lot of assholes in the world that respect the troops more than you can imagine. The troops deserve our respect, but respecting the troops doesn't give you carte blanche to do the shit that JBL does behind the scenes. And I really cannot understand why Fox News still brings this prick on their TV shows. It really baffles me. It surprises me. I don't know, man. It just surprises the shit out of me. For those who are into video games, GameSpy.com, they put up their first report on the Legends of WrestleMania video game. They actually got a demo of the game. They describe it a little bit. There's a lot of rumors going around on the net as far as who the characters are going to be in it. There's rumors about Savage and others not being in it. Look, every time... No, Scatman, Fox News is full of pricks. I love watching Fox News, don't get me wrong. And there are some pricks on Fox News, but not to the scope of what JBL does behind the scenes. Not at all. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying about the video game stuff. People, I can save you some time writing stuff on message boards. Don't even bother speculating who's going to be in the game. If you want to talk about who should be in the game or who you would like to create in the game, that's fine. But I'm seeing all these articles, so-and-so might be in the game. I'd love to play. They just write all these articles and they don't even know if the person... This happens every year, people. Every year when a WWE video game starts, getting into development to come out, then all of a sudden, who the hit wrestlers? Who the legends this year? But it's different now because it's a video game that's going to be dedicated completely with legends. Of course, they're probably going to fucking somehow throw John Cena in this goddamn game. But the point is, don't even waste your time fantasizing, guessing. Just wait and see what happens. Now, I will say this. If you go to GameSpy, they actually do get into the controls a little bit. This game is going to be much more basic from the WWE games of recent memories. And the reason being, and they do explain this, is that WWE is also trying to get, and this is funny when you actually think about it. I appreciate the idea, but it makes no sense. WWE is trying to also attract fans that may not play video games right now. But, you know, because they were fans of wrestling from 10, 20 years ago, would pick up this video game and play because it's easy to play. The play on this video game is going to be much easier. GameSpy describes it. But you won't have to push up, down, left, right, triangle, triangle, square, square, up, left, right, ref, ref, up, down, all around, twice, so we can do a backflip. You know, it's going to be a lot simpler than that. And that's what they're doing. But the thing that bothers me about that idea, I know it's a nice gesture on WWE's part. How many millions and 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 millions of units do they sell every time they come out with these games? Your game is successful. You're getting a shitload of video game sales. I really doubt that the sales are going to go even further than that because they can, you know, do a drop kick by pushing left and up. And remember something, people, video game fans, I'm talking, you know, people that play, you know, I used to play all the time, I don't play much anymore. But I'm talking about people that are really into video games, all different types. You make this game too basic, you will have regular video game fans turned off at this game. So you might actually do more harm than good. Because if you get these people on these boards, oh my God, I can't do a reverse into a head scissors pile driver, you know, blah, 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 you know, and then jump out of the ring and do 3 different fucking moves at the same time. You know, I can't do it in this game. I can only leg drop. You know, you might actually be doing some more harm than good. Personally, I'm going to enjoy this game no matter what, because this is something that I said 3 fucking years ago, 4 fucking years ago, when those other, what was the name of that video game that came out when they had the Legends too? I can't remember what it was, but those games sucked. I mean, it was cool to have Superstar Billy Graham in a video game and shit like that. I mean, I got to play some really cool characters in the game, but the gameplay was horrible. And, you know, back then when those games came out, I said, why isn't WWE coming out with a game like this? So this is a game that I've actually, honestly, been looking forward to for a very long time. Now, segueing into something else with a video game, and I guess this is probably good that Kevin's not on, because I know this is the segment tonight that Kevin probably would hate more than any other segment during the show. Thank you, Tom Cruise in the chat. Legends of Wrestling. That was the video game series that came out several years back. Showdown Legends of Wrestling. Thanks. Just to show you the scope of how bad TNA is. And look, I'm not even saying this in bragging, I'm just saying it to prove a point. There is a ton of creative ideas that we have said on this show that TNA should do that they have done. They just haven't done it as good as we wanted them to do it, but there's a lot of things that we said TNA should do that they did. And we criticize TNA a lot because TNA has a lot of flaws. We've said it over and over again. Instead of taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, they're taking 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And they keep doing this over and over again and over and over again. And, you know, I'm telling you, I know this is sad to say, but I'm going to be, you know, people have asked this question for the last 5 years. I think for the first time, I'm going to actually answer it. People always say, how long do you think TNA lasts? Think TNA lasts for a while? Think TNA lasts for a while? Yeah, leader knows exactly what I'm getting to. Oh, I love my listeners. They're so smart. I mean, really, I'm dead serious with that. I will say this now. If TNA stays on the path that they are, they will be dead and buried in about 5 years. And the reason being is because they're still not making a good profit. Midway, someone in the chat will clarify this for me because I would really love to make fun of this point, but I want to be right. Did Midway file bankruptcy, or did they just lay off a shitload of people because they have serious money problems? I don't know if they filed bankruptcy, but Midway definitely just lost a ton of revenue. I think they might even be closing up certain shops. I know that there's websites saying that the second TNA video game is on the fritz right now because Midway is having a huge financial problem right now. Now, you think of all of that, and we've said it for 2 years now. TNA's video game was a very important part of their future because they needed to make a lot of money from that video game. Those video games, because when you think of WWE selling millions of copies, and you think of the money that they make off of it, I don't know how much they make, but it's got to be tens of billions of dollars. So TNA needed their video game to have great sales. My great celebrity says that they did file for bankruptcy. So right now Midway is fucked. I'll always remember Midway for Defender, but Midway is fucked right now. That's the creator of the game. Now, because their video game sales were nowhere near what they thought it was going to be, even though they'll tell you that it was, now Midway's in financial problems. So the chances of TNA doing another video game of Midway are slim to none. Now, we constantly criticize TNA because we want their product to get better. There's nothing I would want more in this world is to be able to watch their product and enjoy it. I would love to sit back and brag that we came up with certain storylines for them, and it actually ended up happening, and they were good storylines. But the point is, Lance Storm on his website today put up a whole bunch of Q&A, and Lance Storm said, and trust me, Lance Storm ain't doing a Jason Powell and assuming. I'm sure he's got people directly, friends that are directly in TNA right now. He said, TNA does not think they're doing anything wrong. And Lance Storm says that that's TNA's biggest problem. They do not think they're doing a bad job. That's dangerous, people. That's dangerous. So the point is, I want someone in the chat room, pick someone from WWE right now that is the lowest of the low on their roster. You cannot include Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I'm talking about somebody that hasn't been around all that long. It's just the lowest of the low on their roster. Let's see what people come up with. Now, there's a little delay for the people that are listening in the archive. For some reason on the live show, it's like a 10-second delay. So when I say something right away, it takes about 10 seconds for them to hear it. But come up with someone that's the lowest of the low on the WWE roster. Not D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown's just not being used. I'm talking about someone that doesn't have it, never had it, don't know why he's there. We can't use Snitsky anymore because he's gone. You want to use Paul Burchill? Brooklyn Brawl is not a regular wrestler anymore. He doesn't wrestle. I'm talking about somebody. All right, Manu. Yes, Manu. I should have done that. All right, Manu. We cannot stand Manu. Actually, go to wrestling-news.com. There's a poll up there about Manu that it's going to be up there until December 31st. Vote if you think that, how we feel about Manu, if you feel the same way, basically. But anyway, let's use Manu. I prefer to use Manu. I want you to picture THQ, all right? I want you to picture, now, forget about Manu being a real-life person and you put him in a video game. I want you to forget about the fact that TNA made a wrestler based on the character of a video game. Just forget all of that, okay? I just want you to picture. But no, I can't use Manu. Oh yeah, we can use Manu. Let's use Manu. I want you to picture WWE on their website right now putting up a video clip, okay? On their website right now, and I'm going to remove this wrestler's name from TNA and I'm going to put Manu's in there. And you'll understand the magnitude of TNA's ignorance with what they're doing right now. And you know what? Even if Dixie, Jeff, or any of these other management individuals of that company, even if they say, oh no, it's just a minor article on their website, let me tell you something, boys and girls over at TNA Management, it sticks out like a sore fucking thumb. It sticks out, and it's almost as bad as when you plugged a contest on your website to give away one goddamn t-shirt. Vince McMahon gives away millions. You actually put a news article with a t-shirt, one fucking t-shirt. But anyway, imagine WWE coming out with their SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 game. Then you go to WWE.com, and WWE.com has an article that says the high-flying daredevil Manu steps off the video game screen, courtesy of THQ and WWE. Manu made his debut at, I don't know, Royal Rumble, and has been appearing on WWE Raw since April. What is Manu's plans in WWE? Tune in Monday night to find out. The WWE THQ video game is available in all retailers. Now, when I read that, I would laugh because I'm like, you're writing an article about Manu, but then, imagine this. You go to WWE.com and imagine this.
There's a war going on. I'd say a war from good and evil. Not about respect, but about the spotlight.
Battle lines have been drawn. Suicide. In the game, Suicide starts off as a champ, runs into some trouble, ends up as a champ. Now, TNA's ready to start.
Suicide? Are you kidding me? Coming back to the real world, huh? Coming to TNA.
So standard to take the wrestlers and put into the video game mode. But what we've done is take a video game character, Suicide, and we are turning him into a wrestler.
I'm seeing these promos of this guy wearing a suit that covers him up from head to toe with a mask with a skull. And it says Suicide. Not sure what to think about that.
The guys at TNA love the name Suicide, so we ran with that, built the character around the name, fit perfectly into the story, the costume just kind of came from there and all that.
We're setting the bar pretty high for future games down the road. Just the fact that what we've done with this character is never been done before.
When the team heard Suicide was going to be brought to life, they were so excited. I can imagine being the artist that created the character. We just created the team stuff.
And hopefully game after game after game, this guy's going to continue to be a presence.
Suicide, are you a man who talks? Or are you a man who fights?
I would say it's in the best interest of your future. Decide with front line. The choice is yours.
You know what I'm saying, big man? Are you kidding me? Suicide? Oh boy. Yeah, come to TNA and see what happens. You the one's gonna get the DOA.
Now, imagine fucking John Cena and Jeff Hardy and Batista and Triple H saying, Manu, are you all talking? You're gonna fight. And then have THQ. They're talking about Suicide like he's one of their main eventers. Are you gonna join the front line? The fucking guy, Frankie Kazarian, got injured twice. 8-year-old kids that play wrestling video games create characters all the time. TNA creates a fucking character in a video game and loves the look so much and says, ooh, we gotta make a costume and make a real-life wrestler out of it. Suicide was a character created because TNA management loved the way it looked. And you got fucking Yokozuna over there and AJ Styles cutting promos in LAX on Suicide. I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, did I miss something here? It's not like fucking, Doink the Clown. You understand my point? This is a fucking guy that wrestling fans, he doesn't have a history. Never wrestled for wrestling fans. Jeff Jarrett is saying, ooh, we're revolutionary. we're gonna create a wrestler from a fucking video game. Kids fucking create wrestlers all the time, and it looks cool. You don't make wrestler characters out of the game and then fucking put up a video on TNA's mainstream website with the one of the executives at Midway saying, "Oh, we made this character and we're bringing it to life and this and that." What do you think? You're doing Doom and it's going to create it to a movie? Suicide the movie? Suicide is basically what TNA is doing with their fucking creative department right now. They're playing Russian fucking roulette because again, you're not talking about one of their main eventers. You're talking about a character that was created in a video game, not based on anybody, and because TNA management says, "Ooh, that looks good. Maybe we can make a real wrestler out of it." That is the dumbest fucking thing I ever heard. I don't care how Jeff Jarrett, wants to make it sound. Jeff, concentrate on writing storylines about your dead wife. Okay, concentrating on storylines on Kurt Angle threatening to take your kids and molest them. Remember months ago when Jeff Jarrett went and did interviews and said Kurt Angle had no right bringing up my deceased wife. That was not planned. What did we say back then? It smelled like shit. It smelled like somebody was trying to work the internet. It smelled like that. Let me tell you something, people. If my mother died right now, and somebody, and even on an indie wrestling show, somebody brought up my mother to try to get themselves over as a heel without telling me first, I knocked that motherfucker out right on his face. Alright? I don't go and do an interview with the UK Sun or Canada or anyone else and say, Kurt Angle was not authorized to do that. The minute you go and do an interview and say he wasn't authorized to do that, tells me he was authorized to do that. You want to try to make it sound like the Kurt Angle is a loose cannon, that he's doing what he wants, saying what he wants, and he can't be kept under control. What is he, a fucking dog? What is he, a fucking orangutan? That you don't know what he's going to do next? He's an untrained animal? Get the fuck out of here. And then all of a sudden, week in and week out, hey Jeff, I'm going to take the kids. Hey Jeff, bringing up the wife. Hey Jeff, I know 99% of you out there that watch TNA, every week now, Kurt Angle is bringing up Jeff Jarrett's dead wife and Jeff Jarrett's kids in storyline to Jeff Jarrett. They could have Killer Kowalski come back from the dead and put over Suicide as the next greatest thing around. It just looks so goofy and so Bush League. That's the best way to put it. Bush League. You fucking have the executive from Midway cutting promos and showing Suicide on the screen. They show Suicide as it's being developed, and I'm saying to myself, a 6-year-old fucking kid in the creative wrestling gallery could have created that. I don't know, it's just, I had to share that with people because when somebody emailed me the link and it said, look at this video clip on the creation of Suicide, complete with Midway executives and other shit, I'm saying, no, this can't be. You don't put this on your main website. Manu is even a better fucking wrestler than this guy. He's even mainstream. And especially on the heels of fucking Frankie Kazarian coming back from an injury just to tear a different part of his body. I mean, listen, we don't want to see Frankie Kazarian injured. But to have this guy twice get injured under the Suicide character, I mean, it's just, oh God. It's terrible. It's terrible. I will guarantee you people, when they come out with WrestleCrap TNA Virgin, Suicide will be right on the cover of the fucking book. I guarantee all of you. That is just terrible what TNA did on their website. And I'm not even saying it because I'm trying to think of funny stuff to talk about tonight. I'm not laughing. That is almost as bad as TNA putting the tag team title this week on Consequences Creed. I put that on the category as Pac-Man Jones. Last week, me and Kevin ripped this Consequences Creed character a new asshole. He's not even worth the opening match on an indie show right now. He is sloppier. He's sloppier than pigs in fucking mud. He misses spots. He doesn't connect. When he throws punches, he misses by a fucking mile. I mean, it's disgusting. And then we hear in the TNA spoilers that they put the tag team titles on him. I just, you and no wonder why TNA's rating last week went from 1.2 to 0. Not only did they get this Super Tag Team of the Year award, but do you realize, I noticed this week, Morrison was on Raw, ECW, SmackDown, Tribute to the Troops, all this week. Give the guy a fucking lot of credit. He's busting his ass. We've been showing love for this guy for a while now. And, you can't always buy into this bullshit that's going around the net. But anyway, before I make fun of Jason Powell more and get into a little bit of analysis, actually this is going to lead into a storyline idea that I have about John Cena. And if anybody that's been listening to the show for a while, a lot of my storyline ideas actually end up happening. If you remember the infamous one, I actually came up with an idea of Vince McMahon versus Donald Trump at WrestleMania, and they could have a wrestler wrestling in the corner of each wrestler, and the one that loses has to have this headshake ball. Remember that? Joey 924 was on me. He's like, that's not a good idea. They're not going to do that. Then, 2-3 weeks later, it was all news all over the net that they were going to do that. Not saying WWE heard what I said. It was just an idea I thought of, We talked last year about TNA needed to do an NWO type angle. We said they needed to get a secondary title. We've come up with a lot of ideas that end up happening. It's just, we look at the business probably similar than some people there look at it. That's really all it is. But I don't have the Magic 8 Ball unplugged. Unplugged, the God honest truth, the coolest story was the Nitro simulcast. And there are tons of people that heard it that till this day will vouch for me on this, and it's the God honest truth. For the people that don't know the Nitro simulcast story, the day that WWE bought WCW, there was a local hotline here in New York run by this gentleman by the name of Captain Ivan. Shout out to him, I know he's listening. And he used to have me on like once a week, talk about wrestling stuff. This is before I started doing shows or hotline or anything. And he said, what do you think you're going to do about the WCW thing? I said, I don't know. I said, they're having Shane McMahon sort of like feuding with his father. Maybe they'll have a simulcast next week and they'll reveal that Shane McMahon bought WCW and he's going to feud with his father Vince. And said it right on this line. A lot of people heard it. Sure enough, that's what happened. So that's one of the coolest ones that I've had to do with. But, before I get into Batista possibly being injured until WrestleMania, which is the story that this gentleman wrote in the chat room. I don't know if it's spam or not, but, it's, we'll talk about it in a moment. I was thinking about the storyline with John Cena. We get emails almost every week from people about John Cena. And, they're adults. I mean, because honestly, children probably fucking type when you really think about it. Death to people, Nick Bockwinkel is not dead. Nick Bockwinkel was ill recently, but he's not passed away, thank God. Nick Bockwinkel, one of my favorites of all time. And when I shout out some people later on, I will definitely talk a little bit more about Bockwinkel, if I remember. Honestly, Horseman, I've never heard Jason Powell speak, and I will never hear him speak. I do not want nightmares in the middle of the night of that bald fucking head fucking talking to me in my sleep. Randy Orton's the only one who hears voices in his head while he sleeps. Anyway, what I thought about with John Cena is, a lot of people say, oh, you should turn heel. Websites do polls almost every other week. Should John Cena turn heel? People write blogs and columns. John Cena has to turn heel. John Cena has been bland. The ratings really haven't affected him since he's back. Went up a point or two, but not all that much. He needs to turn heel. Don Tony, what would you do with John Cena? Now, John Cena, biggest merchandise seller in WWE. Now, I will incorporate Goofy Jason Powell's fucking poll on his website. Now, obviously, if he charges a membership, I don't think he expects children to to pay for his membership, especially when he puts up websites that have naked women and naked vaginas out there. So obviously his website and his memberships are dedicated and targeted for adults. So now, Mr. Powell, if your website is targeted for teenagers, adults, older men like yourself, elderly people, whatever, why would you fucking come up with a poll that says, should WWE make John Cena or Jeff Hardy the face of the company? You dumb fucking twit. Let me repeat that poll that he put up. And this actually goes into analysis. He said, should WWE make John Cena or Jeff Hardy the face of the company? Now, Jeff Hardy, of course, is majorly over with the fans. But you don't take a guy that is, listen, forget his popularity for a minute. In a business standpoint, you don't take a guy that's notorious for smoking weed, that's been suspended from WWE for the wellness program. One more strike and he's done with the company. With all his injuries he's had, him being a risk taker, the guy for the fans has busted his hump for the last 10 plus years to get where he's at. He deserves the heavyweight title. He deserves each and every one of your respect out there. He deserves my respect, your respect. Even if you don't like him, you have to give him respect for everything he's done. But you don't make him the fucking representative of your company. Because in the blink of an eye, the guy could fuck up. The guy was just recently in an airplane. He had every right to drink. He didn't do anything wrong. But the point is, when you look at his history, and you look at John Cena's history, yeah, there's an old video on the internet of John Cena or Roy just when he was fucking, almost Mike Bell size, and wait till I put the picture of Mike Bell up there. But the point is, John Cena, come on, the Marine, going, the children. I mean, John Cena is safe for that company to be a flagship. He can walk around the entire world. WWE treats John Cena like they're Hogan, like they're Austin. This is a guy that they can put their entire flagship company around. Not a guy that's on 2 strikes. Not a guy that smokes weed, for various reasons. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Jeff Hardy does, but Jeff Hardy does too many things that are risky. Jeff Hardy, if you remember, he got in that a little emotional situation where he left WWE and started singing like, some really, really fairy music, I mean, that's a guy you do not make the flagship. And for this idiot to even put up a poll, it's just stupid. But now, this leads to my storyline idea. Shout out to Don Tony 2.0 in the chat. My idea with John Cena, what I would love to see, and forgive me if it's ever been done before. I don't know if it has ever been done before. I know Bret Hart did the storyline with Canada and America, but maybe someone in the chat room can answer this, or maybe somebody can call in later. If I take calls, I probably will. Maybe you can tell me if you've ever heard or remember a wrestler doing this. And my idea is, I don't need them to suspension, just, they should have John Cena turn heel to the adults. John Cena should go out there and point blank tell the adults to kiss his ass, in a nice way, obviously, because children watch. And John Cena basically tells the fans that he does what he does, all the kids, and for all the younger people that look, you know what I mean? Like, he is a face for the children. He comes out and he says, you're not going to tell the children that Santa Claus is fake. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. Oh, no, 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 no. Let him be a face for the kids. Let him do everything targeted towards children. Let the adult fans boo the shit out of him. Let the older people hate him. That's how you turn the guy heel. He can still be a good guy. But the point is, you have a feud of children versus adults, which I think that would be fucking hilarious. You know? Yes, Unplugged, the parents have the money, but think about it, Unplugged. Wrestling is entertainment. Do you, other than maybe Jason Powell, because he really doesn't have money, what parent is going to tell their kid, I hate John Cena, you're not having that John Cena shirt. No, 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 no. Well, no, John Cena's my hero. I don't care, I don't like John Cena, you're not getting that shirt for Christmas. You're not going to have any parent that's not going to buy their kid John Cena stuff because he's a heel for all of us? Think about it. That's what I would do to John Cena right now. It's a storyline. Again, maybe someone in the chat room can tell me otherwise. Maybe somebody can call in and tell me if it's ever been done. Has there ever been a storyline with a top star that is basically turned heel on adults and was a face for kids? And pushed the storyline that he was the children's champ or the kids champ or come on, they have fucking WWE Kids magazine. They got kids, all this, like sections dedicated to children now. You can have John Cena putting all this goody two-shoot, I drink milk stuff. And then you figure out who could be the heel that represents adults in some way. That he's not a bad guy, like, he doesn't belittle children, but basically, you understand what I mean? That's just my idea. No King, Dre, RJ, it's not gonna make him look like a pedophile. If he's a role model for kids, come on, I mean, if you really think about it, look at Rocky fucking, what was it, Rocky 2? And didn't he fucking run up the fucking stairs in Philadelphia and he had tons of kids running all across the streets? Nobody fucking ever watches that movie and says, ooh, Rocky, pedophile, pedo, whatever you call it. No, come on. I personally think John Cena should be a face for the kids and a heel for adults. And then sooner or later, somebody will click and can basically, feud with him. The kids can absolutely hate we'll just use Chris Jericho as an example. The kids can absolutely hate Chris Jericho, but adults appreciate him, Just an idea. So, that's what I would do with John Cena right now. So, I just gave you a little creative idea, and at the same time, also was able to make fun of Jason Powell again. I like that. Making fun of people, it really, I'm being totally honest with you people right now. I am upset every time Jake the Snake Roberts says stupid shit. Now, Jake the Snake Roberts is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I sat back and appreciated him being interviewed by the Masked Maniac that time, and not too long ago. And Jake the Snake Roberts, I wish from the bottom of my heart would clean up his act, live till he's 90, and just enjoy life, and maybe in some way, shape, or form do something involved with wrestling that would make us enjoy it more. That's what I want out of Jake Roberts. Rob Feinstein maybe would rather have him all suited up and do one of those crazy shoot interviews with Iron Sheik and others. But me, in a perfect world, that's what I would want with Jake the Snake Roberts. And I will also say, Jake the Snake Roberts is an adult. Jake the Snake Roberts has the right to do what he wants to do. Jake the Snake Roberts has the right if he wants to drink. Drinking is not illegal, okay? The problem with some of these guys, or the problem with some people in general, is that they abuse their privileges. And what Jake the Snake Roberts doesn't understand is Jake the Snake Roberts is a public person. Jake the Snake Roberts was a celebrity, an entertainer, enjoyed by millions upon millions upon millions over the years. And when someone falls the way Jake Roberts has fallen, Jake Roberts deserves the criticism that he receives because he was in the public eye and is doing some very disrespectful and distasteful and very unprofessional things. In some cases, it can be borderline illegal. And when Jake the Snake Roberts comes back and says, and he did an interview over the weekend, people, and he said that the current wrestling fan is very disrespectful. And I know for a fact, I know Kevin doesn't like to go blatant like this because Kevin doesn't want to basically say, you know, oh, so-and-so listens to the show, so-and-so listens to it. I'll say it. I know for a fact that shit that we said on this show got back to him. And the reason why I say it is because when we were defending Jake, when he went into rehab and, you know, everybody was showing love and support for him, I personally got emails from his handler, his girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, Shannon. I got MySpace messages from him and other things. He appreciated the support. So I know that went back to him. We didn't even email them, hey, did you hear what we said about you last week? We talked nicely about you. We talked nice. We don't go and email the people that we show some love and support to. Word gets around sometimes. So as quickly as the support got to them, the shitting on got to them also. And I know for a fact they did not like in the least bit what we said on the show that not one other show had the balls to say was that it's funny how they were saying, oh, you know, the person, he was busy shitting on the net for shitting on him, but never once shit on the people that supposedly drugged his drinks. You notice that, people? He never till this day ever said in an interview on his blog, on his MySpace, Joe Smith from so-and-so promotion, you motherfucker, you spiked my drink, you made me zoot it out of my head, that I whip my dick out in front of children, you motherfucker, if I'm ever around you again, I'm gonna break your fucking legs, you dumb motherfucking piece of shit. You never did it once, but yet, wrestling fans nowadays are disrespectful. Wrestling fans nowadays don't respect Team Snake. Snake this, you know? So he calls it disrespectful. Jake does not like the fact that there is so many media outlets now to expose the unprofessional behavior. That's something that they didn't have 20 years ago. When you hear these road stories, Jake, I'm going to give a plug because actually I heard this is a good thing. And you know what? You know, Jake can stay clean. God bless the guy. If he can make tons of money off of this shoot DVD that he did, God bless the guy. I just don't want to take the profits he gets from this DVD and fucking, you know, send Shannon to go to fucking, drugstore.com and fucking, you know what I mean? Let him do make money for the right reasons. Alright? But the thing with him is he just did a shoot interview where he talks about road stories and ribs and a lot of other stuff that obviously wasn't on the WWE DVD. I'm sure it's going to be adulting content. And I'm sure it's going to enjoy. Horseman, I appreciate that. People are chatting and thinking what I'm getting into right now. But the thing is that the DVD I already did now with road stories and all that stuff, I heard it's very explicit, but very good. And I'm definitely picking one up. But I will say this, people. The reason why, now I'm going to say something that probably a lot of people never even thought of before, that I have to remember, and I said this because it's so common sense wise, but it's so true. The reason why these older wrestlers have all these road stories that happened back in the day that don't happen now is because back in the day you didn't have the internet. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have blogs. You didn't have Don Tony and Kevin Castle show. You didn't have fucking cameras that recorded video. You didn't have camera phones. You didn't have all this shit that people could capture stuff. If we had all that back then, there would be no road stories like you hear. Let's the only reason why these guys have all these crazy road stories? So, when these guys talk about, oh, wrestling fans nowadays are disrespectful, no. We have more ways of exposing your stupid bullshit. Leader, actually, there's a lot of people in the chat room, but they're invisible for some reason. I have not been able to figure out the invisible problem. If I can't figure it out by next week, I will put the old chat room back up over here. I have all the software ready to go, but I wanted to try to do it one more week. So I know there's a ton of people in the chat room, but for some reason, they're not they're visible. My advice to all of you, you get out of Internet Explorer and go back in, you should be visible, you should be fine. If you can, but you'll still be connected to the show, so it doesn't matter. But, that's my thing with Jake Roberts. Jake, and I know this will go back to you, nobody's being disrespectful to be an asshole. You should not wake up in the morning and say, that motherfucker, you hear what de Blasio fucking said on the show about me? Did you hear what fucking so-and-so said on the show about me? If you didn't do the things that you did, nobody would be bringing it up. And then you say that we have no right to talk about it? Are you kidding me? Give me one legitimate reason as a public figure standing in the middle of the ring whipping out your penis in front of children, regardless of the circumstances around it. You give me one reason why we don't have the right to belittle the shit out of you. And again, you have never, ever threatened the people that supposedly drugged you. So, the thing is that and it's not even like a smart mark, it's fucking common sense. It's like that cunt Casey Anthony in fucking Florida. I got the name right, people. Look at that. I got the names wrong that time. Come on, man. I mean, I think, honestly, people with this Casey Anthony in Florida, I am convinced that some of these news organizations cloud the obvious because they need stories to talk about and milk it as much as they can. Because let me tell you something, people. If I go on my computer right now and I look up on the internet how to cut somebody's balls off and shove it in their mouth, and then all of a sudden one of my family members disappears, and another family member calls the cops and says, oh my god, it smells like fucking somebody got their balls cut off in the trunk of his car, and then all of a sudden they find the person dead and he's got his balls cut off and shoved in his mouth. I mean, you understand my point? This dirtbag bitch looked on the internet how to break somebody's neck. I'm sorry. I don't even think wrestlers in storyline ever Googled how to break somebody's neck. You look up chloroform, you look up breaking people's necks. The funny thing is, people, is maybe she wasn't the one that looked it up. You ever think about that? But the point is, yeah, she did. But you have on the computer her looking all this shit up. Then you find the person, and there's traces of chloroform in the car, or whatever it is. You mean to tell me that needs to be talked about, and have these fucking experts and these fucking wacky people on these shows debating? Well, they really don't have proof yet, and all this and that. Come on. If I search on the internet how to burn your parents and get away with it, and you find my parents burnt in the forest, bad luck for me? Coincidence? Come on. So, I don't even know how we got into that cunt. Florida's fucked up. No disrespect to my listeners in Florida. But ever since they found that girl, that little kid that was buried, and the way that they treated the political system. And remember, it was Terry Schiavo, that whole story that time. Oh my God, I will never, ever, 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 ever live in Florida. I don't care if Miss fucking America, I don't care if a harem of Miss Americas invited me to Florida to live there and fucking stay with them forever. Never, 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 never. I would never fucking live in that state. And I know we have some people in law enforcement that listen to the show, some people that work for the courts. That's how I get some of my, dirt with papers and stuff. But come on, this There's people inside of Florida that even know how fucked up Florida is. But anyway, so enough of Jake and enough of Casey Anthony and all that other stuff. Let's talk about. Do I want to talk about JBL yet? You know, just a little FYI to people out there. WWE in April is going to be bringing back WWE Superstars. If you remember the TV show from years back, WWE Duke Superstars, they're bringing it back. It's obviously not going to be the same concept. It obviously is going to be sort of a recap show with a couple of matches here and there that you may not see on TV. It's going to air on the WGN network, which is from Chicago. I know a ton of cable outlets carry WGN. For us older folk that may not realize what WGN is, if anybody out there in New York or other states years back, and maybe you still have it, I haven't watched WGN in a long time, but maybe when you were younger, you could live in a particular state and you'd be surfing TV and you would actually get like Chicago Cubs baseball. That's WGN. So basically that's the network it's going to be on, but a lot of places are going to be able to air it. And personally, people, I think it's going to expand beyond WGN once it does come out, especially if the show is successful. But remember, do not put a lot of hype into the show. It's going to be a bullshit show. It's going to be like a jacked metal. It's not going to be anything. I mean, you'll see recaps on websites, but it's really not going to be anything like, oh, I can't wait for WWE Superstars to come back. It's not going to be that type of a show. What you would call it? You know, I actually recommend you people, if you have access to the net, if you want to go check out the UK Sun's website, they have 2 interviews up. One with Kofi Kingston and one with William Regal. Definitely good reads. The one thing about Kofi Kingston, and I never followed his behind the scenes growing up to be a WWE superstar, like his resume. I didn't know his backstory. Trained, went on the indie circuit, and then became obviously the star he is on TV now. I had no idea he worked for the corporate offices. That's actually a really cool thing to hear from him. It's a great story. Also, William Regal, very funny. He did an interview. He was praising Santino Morales, and he's trying to help him out, but he also said that, you know, comedy will only take you so far in wrestling, which is true. And he also made mention that the reason why he grew his hair long was because of WWE switched to high definition TV. He said that he saw himself on high def with his shorter hair, and he said when you put gel in it, it makes his hair look bald. So he grew the longer hair so he would look better in high definition TV. I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say to that, but you know what? Personally, I think William Regal, and it's funny because UK Sun never took it one step further. This is something I would have said. I would have said, is that the reason why you were wearing that fucking wacky vest? If you remember, he was wearing like shirts at the time. I think in high definition TV, he was like, oh, my tits look fat. I look like I got saggy tits. I bet you that's the reason why he was wearing some of the additional attire. Because he didn't like the way he looked on high definition television. So, anyway, as you can hear in my voice, I actually am recovering a little bit from a cold. The weather here in New York has been terrible. Last week it was in the 50s one day. I remember talking about that I was going to go on my boat, do some fishing. Today and yesterday I think it only went up to like 20, and then 2 or 3 days from now, 2 days from now it's going to be 50. So everybody